G'day guys, Rukshan here. Thanks for joining me for the news vlog. I hope you've all had an awesome day. First up, I wanted to talk to you guys about Daniel Andrews. Yes, I shared news earlier this morning that he was in fact subpoenaed by the Supreme Court to provide banking records, historical credit card details in this case, as well as historical phone records from around the 2013 year period in relation to a incident involving a 15-year-old cyclist and the Andrews family car. Now, before I get into further details, let's actually read this article from the Herald Sun, which explains some of the circumstances around this. Now, many of you may have already been well aware of this story, but many of you may not know the full details. So I want to share this with you today and read this article because I think it explains it really well. Court orders Dan Andrews to hand over documents relating to the Blairgowrie teen cyclist crash. There he is himself, Dan Andrews. Daniel Andrews has been ordered to hand over his personal telephone and credit card records relating to a Blairgowrie car crash involving a teenage cyclist. The former Premier was personally served with the Supreme Court subpoena outside his Mulgrave home last week. The subpoena requires Mr. Andrews to produce a series of documents relating to the day Ryan Millman, then 15, was struck by the Andrews family car in January 2013. It can be revealed Mr. Andrews has engaged Arnold Bloch-Leibler to represent him in the case, the same law firm his former government used to broker a massive taxpayer-funded compensation deal over the shock cancellation of the Commonwealth Games. Familiar faces, repeat customers, I'd say repeat clients. There you have the vehicle of Ford Territory. This is from an image from around that time, and you can see the windscreen there shattered. Apparently this all happened during the time this car was allegedly stationary, and this teen rode into it at such a force to shatter the windscreen and damage other parts of the car as well. You know, do you believe that? People have different opinions. ABL is also acting for the former Premier's wife, Catherine Andrews, who was driving at the time of the crash. ABL was approached for comment about the subpoena but did not respond. The phone records will be relied upon as a part of a damages action launched by Ryan's lawyer to ascertain who Mr. Andrews called in the aftermath of the near-fatal crash, including whether he spoke to his then Chief of Staff, current Victorian Police Assistant Commissioner, Brett Curran. Mr. Curran has declined to clarify if he received a call from Mr. Andrews from the scene of the smash. Why would you decline to clarify? What's the big deal? If nothing untoward happened, if everything was done by the book, why wouldn't you just clarify that? I'm just saying. I mean, maybe it's nothing there, but just clarify it, right? Victoria Police, the Traffic Accident Commission, State Treasury Office, and 000 operator have also been slapped with subpoenas. Ryan's legal team accused law firm Slater and Gordon, which acted for him in the aftermath of the crash, of failing to conduct a full and proper investigation into the circumstances of the collision. The Labour-aligned practice is accused of failing to act in Ryan's best interest and breaching its duty of care and obligations to him when negotiating his $80,000 TAC compensation payout. I mean, that is a very serious allegation that's been said there. Mr. and Mrs. Andrews have always maintained Ryan's bike T-boned their Ford Territory, while Ryan insists the Andrews car was speeding and seemed to come out of nowhere when he was struck 17 meters from the Melbourne Road and Ridley Street corner. Secret police photographs uncovered by the Herald Sun in November 2022 supported Ryan's claims, revealing extensive damage to the front of the car and its windscreen. In April last year, the Herald Sun revealed an Ambulance Victoria report detailed the car struck Ryan while travelling at 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. So you can see there some images of Ryan there. He's in a pretty bad shape, that 15-year-old at the time. Again, these circumstances do raise a lot of eyebrows. I understand why. The patient care report made by paramedics who attended the crash and buried for a decade was at odds with the Andrews' claims they came to a complete stop and turned right from a stationary position just moments before the collision. Police failed to use a breathalyzer at the scene. Why didn't the police use a breathalyzer at the scene? If you or I were involved in some type of accident, do you think the police would use a breathalyzer on the scene? Apparently it wasn't common practice at the time and they could use their discretion. Do you believe that? Do you believe that's what always happens when the police come to the scene of an accident such as this, when a minor especially is injured? Do you really think that this is common? Questions have been raised about why Mr. Andrews removed the car from the scene before crucial evidence could be gathered, prompting calls by a former Victorian Crown prosecutor for a fresh review of the case. So Andrews actually removed the car from the scene of the crash to take his children away, who were apparently traumatized by the entire incident, so he had to move them from that particular location. Mr. Raymond Shu, the state's former assistant commissioner for traffic operations, who says the Victoria Police investigation failed to meet 12 critical standards, has been engaged by Ryan's lawyers as an expert witness. Former Chief Commissioner Glenn Glare has also said he does not believe proper procedure was followed. Claims Mr. Andrews told a witness his family had been having lunch at the sailing club prior to the crash have also been referred to Victoria's Anti-Corruption Commission. The Andrews say they were returning to their holiday rental after a visit to the beach. What a story. And it continues to go on. Will these phone records actually reveal anything? Will these bank details reveal anything? How long does this data actually kept for, right? I can't imagine getting phone records from 10 or more years ago. Banking records, potentially it's possible. Credit card records, it's potentially possible to get that kind of details. Phone records, again, it may be because he was the opposition leader or a part of, as a politician at the time, maybe the records are kept in a different manner for the phone that was issued to him. Who knows? It's possible that there's something there and that these lawyers want to look at this, in particular around whether he called his chief of staff straight after the crash. And it's interesting, they've also subpoenaed 000 ambulance, Victoria, and I believe also the police in terms of their investigation into this and whatever data might be available, right? It'd be interesting to hear some of those calls if they are indeed still available. Now, the next story, guys, is the by-election in Dunkley. It has been won by the Labour Party. They have maintained their seat. There was a swing towards the Liberals, but it seems that Australians and Victorians are happy with the cost of living crisis and see no need at this point to teach Albanese a lesson of sorts. He has actually been vindicated or validated in some respects, if you ask certain commentators. Now, the Liberals are treating this as somewhat of a victory, saying that this swing towards them shows that come the federal election, they have more of a chance of picking up this seat. Now, other people who are more clued into this have been saying that because other minor parties didn't run, like the UAP or One Nation in this particular seat, a lot of those votes went towards the Liberals, thus the swing. Regardless of any of that, it is being held by Labor, and many people in the Labour camp are celebrating and saying that this is further vindication for them as a party and that this is what Australians want, and they reject the Liberal Party completely. Let me know what you think about the election in Dunkley. This is just in, guys. There has been I guess pro-Palestinian protesters have crashed the Mardi Gras in front of a Labour float where Chris Minns, the Premier of New South Wales, was meant to be speaking from, or something around that line. They've let off some flares leading to, I believe, arrests and scuffles with the police. So let's just have a look at this. So they're holding a massive sign that says "Queer Solidarity with Palestinian Resistance." Anyway, let's keep watching. So yeah, queer solidarity with Palestinian resistance. I don't know what the aim of this type of protest is. I'm being completely honest here. What it means to gate crash the Mardi Gras. I guess they're gate crashing in front of the Labour float and setting up some sort of political message. But again, just like the councils, the state governments don't necessarily have any sway in foreign policy. And the Mardi Gras isn't really the avenue for doing this type of protest. I understand there was also argy-bargy between protesters and the police earlier on, with protesters still unhappy about even police officers without their uniforms marching in the Mardi Gras. So there's all those issues as well, I guess. But in this instance, we have, again, this thing doesn't really make sense, right? Queer solidarity with Palestinian resistance, considering that in the laws against people who are queer, gay, homosexual in that part of the world isn't the same as what we come to expect in modern Western societies that we find all around the world, where there is a lot more tolerance and acceptance and work done towards bringing these communities and everyone together and having equal rights. It's not like that in places like Palestine. It is, in fact, more similarly in terms of these laws, more open to this type of communities in Israel. So it's very interesting to see this. This video was shared by a user called Francie Nancy. I'm not sure what the original source is. Maybe it's her, but this is available on X. So there, this is another article about that. You can find it on The Guardian. Pro-Palestinian activists disrupt Sydney gay and lesbian Mardi Gras with protest. I'm not sure if any of this is winning them over any fans. Next story is, guys, staying on the topic of the Israel-Gaza conflict. We did have this, I guess, major contentious point being discussed from yesterday around whether a war crime was committed by Israel during a humanitarian aid drop, where 100 civilians apparently, allegedly, I would say, because it's being denied by many Israeli authorities, was killed. Now they're saying there was some sort of stampede, whereas the Hamas, Gaza health authorities and other authorities or institutions linked to that Gaza region, as well as Al Jazeera, are saying that the people were fired upon by the IDF. Again, I am not there. I cannot verify any of this, but you are seeing international pressure being put on Israel because of this latest news. And some of that pressure also comes from the Biden White House. The reason I bring up Biden is the fact that he is saying that Gaza is in fact Ukraine because he's made another gaffe. See, Biden's not all there. The guy that's like the world leader when it comes to these issues doesn't even know where Gaza is. He's saying it's Ukraine now. And I'm not even kidding. This is him talking to during a discussion with the Italian Prime Minister Giorgio Meloni. This is what he said.
I try to get aid in. And we need to do more, and the United States will do more. In the coming days, we're going to join with our friends in Jordan and others in providing airdrops of additional food and supplies into Ukraine, and seek to continue to open up other avenues into Ukraine, including the possibility of a Marine corridor to deliver large amounts of humanitarian assistance. In addition to...
Now, all fair to be fair to Biden, they were discussing Ukraine conflict as well as the Gaza conflict, but here he's mixed up Ukraine and Gaza, and he's saying that they're going to do airdrops to Ukraine, open up a humanitarian corridor to Ukraine. Now, none of that is actually happening with the US on the ground in the Ukraine, whereas in Gaza is where this is planned to be taking place and where these airdrops are planned to be happening. So again, senile old man Biden, he's well-meaning, but of course he has issues with his memory, as said by his DOJ, has again made a massive gaffe on the international stage, this time in front of another foreign leader. I don't know what to make of all this. It's become quite normal and embarrassing, and people that support him have accepted this as the normal course of things. Very weird, if you ask me. Anyway, guys, again, thanks for hanging out for a very late episode of the news vlog. Again, I hope I didn't mumble on too much. I've just finished work and it's around 11:47 p.m. But I still wanted to make this, so I'll probably drop this in the early hours of the morning so you can watch it in the morning as you wake up. Again, if you enjoy my videos, you can follow me on YouTube at The Real Rukshan. Hit that subscribe button. You can also hit the notification bell and you'll get notifications when I put up videos. You can also find me on X, Rumble, Odyssey, Facebook, Instagram at The Real Rukshan. See you guys next time.